Telecom networks are facing faster cyber attacks, making crypto agility and quantum safe readiness increasingly urgent. With attacks accelerating and DDoS peaks forming in minutes, resilience has become a frontline priority. Here to tell us more are Nokia's Enrique Valle and Jackie Fox from Accenture. Welcome both of you to the discussion. Now, Enrique, how prepared are telecom operators for quantum safe network transitions?
Globally, we are still at a very early stage of this journey. The core challenge is that today's encryption, which is used to secure everything from customer data to network operations, will eventually be vulnerable to quantum computers. Regulators and standard bodies like NIST in US are already setting guidelines and implementation dates. And we expect that current encryption is expected to be deprecated by 2030. In APAC, we often find a mixed infrastructure of legacy and cutting-edge 5G infrastructures, and this presents a significant and complex challenge. We are probably talking about a years-long journey to replace fundamental security layers across all diverse networks that we have in place. The risk isn't just future data breaches, which are happening almost every day, but it is also the concept of harvest now to decrypt later. And this is a threat that we see, right, where threat actors could be collecting your encrypted data today, waiting for quantum capabilities to decrypt it later. This means security of past and present communications is at stake.
There's a lot of variety in preparedness, but in general, the industry is still evolving and building up its capability for quantum safe defenses. So there's been some very positive improvements. I think a lot of the telecommunications industry has at least identified where they need to focus on. I would consider them an early adopter, along with government and financial services, who are also early adopters as well. So we're seeing them beginning to kind of explore and go a little deeper into what they're doing. So they understand the basics, like the NIST, the NIST standards that are being fairly universally adopted. But we're also seeing them looking at a little bit outside that as well.
Now, Jackie, how can automation strengthen telecom network security against fast evolving threats?
Using automation to do things like testing network devices and doing compromise assessments to see whether or not they have, and I think the report referred to a lot of people living off the land in networks for a period of time. So looking to see whether there's any unusual behavior on the networks and things that can be spotted. Also, automation is really good, and actually kind of infiltrating AI into that as well, looking for behavior on a network that is not normal, might be anomalous, and actually highlighting the more dangerous things that might be occurring on a network or something that you just weren't expecting. And then in addition to automating that detection and monitoring side, the response to that can also be automated. Now, we would find people a little slower to do automated response, because if you say there's something bad in my network and I'll just cut off that part of it, it may not actually be what you want to do. There's an awful lot of space there as well for things like in the third parties who are providing maybe software supply chain into the telcos. They can do a lot around automated testing and making sure that there, is no kind of bad pieces or bad software libraries getting involved in there. And then there's a third area that's very important around the response to automated attacks. And the report highlighted a lot of things around denial of service, distributed denial of service. So knowing what to do in this situation and how automated the response is to that, because if you get attacked in an automated way, you have to have a fast response to it. And you can really only do that if you're automated.
Automation powered by AI and machine learning is no longer a nice to have, but the fundamental necessity for network security, especially given the speed and sophistication of today's threat actors. Nokia's threat intelligence report clearly shows that APAC faces unique and intense challenges. 58% of service providers report high rates of SS7 diameter and SIP issues, and another 58% are dealing with telecom-adapted malware. These attacks are often automated themselves, making human-only response way too slow. Automation allows us to respond on the spot and in real time, detecting and mitigating threats in the matter of milliseconds. This is why that more than 80% of service providers in our region prioritize AI ML-based analytics. It's all about protecting vast amounts of data to spot subtle attack patterns, predict future threats, and automate routine security tasks like patching and certificate management. This not only reduces human error, but also frees up our skilled security teams to focus on more complex and strategic threats.
What policy or investment priorities should telecom operators adopt to stay cyber resilient in 2026?
Number one, again, it's very important to strengthen identity and access management. Human factors remain a leading cause of breaches in APAC and globally. Investing in robust identity and access management solutions is essential to protect customer data and critical systems. Unified security across hybrid networks. With the rapid rollout of 5G, along with existing infrastructures in place, policies must mandate a cohesive security strategy, and investments should focus on solutions that provide a single integrated view across 5G infrastructures, legacy infrastructures, and cloud environments. Another one is related with regulatory compliance and supply chain resilience. Regulatory landscape and compliance landscape is evolving very quickly and rapidly. Policies must ensure we are not just reacting, but proactively adapting to new data privacy and critical infrastructure requirements. Operational hygiene and rapid recovery is also key. Basic security hygiene, like for instance, patching security vulnerabilities, is still fundamental. Policies should drive automation in vulnerability management. Investment in advanced monitoring and rapid incident response capabilities is crucial, as indicated by more than 60% of major service providers in the region. This will allow to fully recover quickly and reduce impact and revenue and trust from our customers.
Well, I think the most important piece for them is to understand what the core and heart of their network is. And I think most telecom operators are very aware of what their core is. So focusing, their resilience efforts on that core is very important. And that can be for things like, putting in kind of really tight encryption standards that are post-quantum safe. And they will protect them against, attacks like steal now, decrypt later, where we see, attackers taking large swathes of data, storing it even though they can't decrypt it now, but thinking when we've broken some of the encryption that isn't quantum safe, that they can go into that. They should also be looking at doing things like attack simulations to actually simulate a genuine attack on their network and simulate the response to it so that they have a good understanding of what they would actually do in the what if scenarios. So maybe looking at, having health standards and patching across devices that are allowed to connect to their network might actually reduce some of the areas in that space. So investment in that space could also be a really good piece to do. There's a lot of global discussions on these topics today on how we can do them with cooperation. At the end of the day, a lot of these networks are interconnected. So it's very important that, standards are raised and that there's global cooperation in this place to make sure that, one telco is protecting another one as well as part of that.
Well, thank you both very much for joining us today. We appreciate your insights, Enrique and Jackie.
Thank you as well for the opportunity.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, our guests were Enrique Valle, Vice President for APAC Cloud and Network Services at Nokia, and Jackie Fox, APAC Cybersecurity Lead and Global Security Strategy Practice Lead at Accenture. For more news, please visit asiantelecom.com.